angels who fell from heaven because they loved humans too much. This is the story they don't want you to know. Long before the great flood that wiped out most of humanity, there existed beings of pure light and divine purpose. These were the Watchers, angels sent by God to observe the earth and its inhabitants. But what was meant to be a simple mission of observation became the greatest rebellion heaven had ever seen. These celestial beings didn't just watch humanity. They fell in love with them. If you've ever wondered about the mysterious giants mentioned in ancient texts, or why so many cultures speak of divine beings who taught humans forbidden knowledge, then subscribe now, because you're about to discover the truth behind one of history's most covered-up stories. The Book of Enoch, one of the most important texts excluded from the modern Bible, tells us exactly what happened. 200 angels descended to Mount Hermon, and their leader was Azazel, an angel so beautiful that his very presence could make mortals weep. These Watchers were supposed to remain invisible, untouchable, pure. But when they saw the daughters of men, something changed forever. Picture this scene. Azazel stands on the peak of Mount Hermon, his 6 wings folded against his luminous form. Below him stretches the world of humans, busy with their daily lives, unaware that divine eyes watch their every move. For centuries, he had observed without feeling. But now, something stirred within his celestial heart. "Look at them, Semjaza," Azazel spoke to his fellow Watcher, his voice carrying the resonance of distant thunder. "See how they love, how they create, how they struggle, and yet continue to hope. There's something in them that we lack." Semjaza, another powerful angel, moved closer to the edge. "We are perfect beings, Azazel. What could mortals possess that we do not?" "Passion," Azazel whispered, watching a young woman tend her garden below. Her laughter carried on the wind, and for the first time in his eternal existence, he felt longing. They love knowing they will lose everything. They create knowing their works will crumble. They hope knowing they might be disappointed. That takes a courage we've never needed. This wasn't just attraction. This was something far deeper. The Watchers saw in humanity a reflection of the divine they had never experienced. Where angels existed in perfect order and obedience, humans lived with free will, with choice, with the beautiful chaos of emotion. One by one, more Watchers began to feel this pull. They watched human marriages, witnessed the joy of parents holding their children, observed the way humans comforted each other in times of sorrow. These angels, who had existed for millennia without need or want, suddenly found themselves incomplete. The decision to descend wasn't made lightly. Semjaza gathered the 200 Watchers on Mount Hermon. The mountain itself seemed to tremble under the weight of so much celestial presence. "Brothers," Semjaza addressed them, his form blazing with conflicted light. "We stand at the edge of eternity. If we do this thing, if we take human wives and abandon our posts, there will be no return to heaven's grace." Azazel stepped forward, his resolve firm. "I've watched them bury their loved ones with tears streaming down their faces, Yet they speak of reuniting in an afterlife they can't prove exists. I've seen them sacrifice their own comfort for strangers they'll never meet again. Tell me, brother, in all our perfect existence, have we ever loved anything the way they love each other? One by one, each angel made their choice. They bound themselves with oaths, knowing full well the consequences. Then, for the first time since creation, angels willingly fell to earth. When the Watchers took human form and married the daughters of men, something unprecedented happened. Their children weren't simply human or simply divine. They were giants, beings of immense size and power called the Nephilim. These weren't just tall humans. Ancient texts describe them as beings 15 feet tall or more, possessing strength that could move mountains and appetites that could consume entire harvests. But the Watchers' love for humanity manifested in another way. They began teaching their human wives and their communities secrets that were never meant for mortal minds. Azazel taught humans how to make weapons and armor. He showed them the art of warfare and the secrets of metallurgy. Other Watchers taught astrology, showing humans how to read the stars and predict the future. They revealed the mysteries of herbs and healing, the secrets of writing and mathematics. Imagine the scene as Azazel stood before his human wife, Naamah, her eyes wide with wonder as he revealed knowledge that had been hidden since the foundation of the world. "My beloved," he said, his voice gentle yet filled with the weight of eternity. "I give you these gifts not because I am commanded to, but because I choose to. Because in loving you, I have learned what it means to want to give everything I am to another." Naamah reached out, her mortal hand touching his face. "But what will become of you? What will your God say when he discovers what you've done?" Azazel's expression grew solemn. "I have seen the consequences written in the stars themselves. Judgment is coming, but I would rather face damnation knowing I have loved truly than return to an eternity of perfect emptiness." The knowledge the Watchers shared transformed human civilization almost overnight. Cities grew larger, wars became deadlier, and humans began to think Thotan. They could challenge the very heavens. The Nephilim, with their divine heritage and immense power, became rulers and warriors, feared and worshipped by ordinary humans. But heaven was watching. God saw what had happened, how his angels had abandoned their posts, how forbidden knowledge was spreading across the earth like wildfire. The balance between divine and mortal had been shattered. The other archangels, led by Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel, appealed directly to the Most High. The earth was becoming corrupted. Violence filled every corner of the world. The Nephilim consumed resources faster than they could be replenished, and humanity was beginning to worship these giant offspring as gods themselves. God's response was swift and terrible. The Great Flood wasn't just about human wickedness. It was about cleansing the earth of the genetic contamination caused by the union of angels and humans, about washing away the forbidden knowledge that threatened to make humans equal to their Creator. But before the flood came the punishment of the Watchers themselves. They were bound with chains of darkness, and cast into deep places beneath the earth. Azazel was buried under the desert, his beautiful form twisted with the weight of divine judgment. The others were scattered to prisons of stone and shadow, where they would remain until the final judgment. The most heartbreaking part? Their human wives and children would die in the flood they had unknowingly brought about through their love. As the rains began to fall for 40 days and nights, Azazel's last free thought wasn't of regret for his rebellion. It was of Naama's smile, of the way she had looked at him with complete trust and love. In chains beneath the earth, he whispered her name into the darkness, a prayer that would echo for millennia. The story of the Watchers reveals something profound about love itself. These angels didn't fall because they were evil or rebellious by nature. They fell because they discovered something in humanity that their perfect existence had never allowed them to experience. They learned that true love requires choice, sacrifice, and the willingness to risk everything for another. Their punishment seems severe, but it speaks to the power of what they had discovered. Love so strong it could make perfect beings choose mortality. Passion so deep it could overthrow divine order. Connection so meaningful it could make eternal beings prefer damnation to separation. Today, their story survives in fragments, in excluded books and whispered legends. But maybe that's exactly as it should be. Because the love that brought down angels and flooded the world isn't meant to be forgotten. It's meant to remind us that love, real love, has always been the most powerful force in the universe. Powerful enough to change everything, even heaven itself. Subscribe to discover more hidden truths that shaped our world.